she's got to be in her final stages because the hospice said she'd be lucky to make it to Thanksgiving, but she'll never see Christmas. So I just want to figure out what was going on, Dad. What could possibly have been going on? I was on a business trip in Chicago, and I called my father the week before Thanksgiving. The call just was very chilling to me. He didn't sound himself, and I said, "What's going on?" And he just said, "It's complicated," and the phone call just ended. I didn't know if he was safe. So I canceled my meetings, jumped a plane, went to his house. I walk in, and he was living in the basement down steep stairs, being isolated from his family. He was in a prison. He was in layered clothing, and he smelled. He was dirty. He was in delirium and dehydration. He had deteriorated, and he just looked like a shell of who he had been. But when your father marries into a family that's a crime family, you're dealing with people that don't abide by rules, and they don't really care about rules. This was a mafia family. There was a lot of signs that I didn't see. His will, power of attorney, and his health proxy were all changed. I remember his doctor saying this was elder abuse at the hands of experts. Checks were being written weekly. He was completely unaware that he was being betrayed.
It's a human rights violation. These people need to be prosecuted for what they are, criminals.
He said to me, "I don't know if I want to live anymore." I realized right in that moment I had to take action. I always knew that I'd be taking care of my parents as they got older, but I never expected to be taking care of a situation like this. Nobody told me how deep elder abuse goes.
Elder abuse is very common. 1 out of 10 usually experience a form of abuse. 90% of all elder abuse cases, it's the family member who's the perpetrator. You can financially abuse them, physically abuse them, sexually abuse them, psychologically abuse them. And for every case they report it to the police, 5 other cases go unreported. This can happen to anybody, but you only hear about it when it happens to celebrities. Buzz Aldrin, B.B. King, Stan Lee, Casey Kasem. I had to fight to see my own father. But I learned very quickly that once you turn 18 in this country, you have no rights to see your parents. Elder abuse is where child abuse was 30 years ago. Hush, hush, shh. It's finally coming to light. Stories like Marvin's have to be told.
In the 1960s, my father was a very successful athlete. He boxed in Madison Square Garden in the Golden Gloves. In 1965, he opened up the Shelton Health Club in Brooklyn Heights. The Mafia was very big in Brooklyn, and the Steam Room was a location where they were able to meet with the judges, and there was no wiretapping. My father met his third wife, Anita Montemurano, at the Shelton Health Club. I look back and think they pegged him right from the beginning. He was targeted. He was a good guy. He was generous. And he was successful. He was rich. Anita Montemurano's brother was Donnie Shax Montemurano. Donnie was a capo in the Colombo crime family. He was involved with the Gallo crime family. He was a mobster. He was a gangster. And Anita, I kind of consider her a mafia princess, because when you surround yourself with criminals, that's what you learn. You steal, you cheat, and you kill. My dad's wife, Anita, wanted to make sure that her family was getting money. So when I walked in, they must have been like, holy shit, what's he doing here? And I fucked their entire plan up.
Now we're gonna go over all the decisions that you can make, and then you're gonna initial in each box, okay?
My dad, he had literally given away all his assets. It was dangerous, and he needed to be taken out of the house. Anita Montemurano's family called the police and stated that we had kidnapped our father and that he had dementia. But I was told that I was gonna have a warrant for my arrest if I did not bring my father into a police station. So it was a very scary day to realize that the police were not there to help us. I was accused of basically kidnapping my father, and really I was saving his life. My father was placed into guardianship on February 3rd. He was not notified that this was going to happen. The wife's family had a nurse's report not signed by any doctor that literally said he had dementia, but it was never signed. And that was presented to the courts, and a judge, without meeting my father, stamped incapacitated. You now have to fight to get him out of guardianship.
That is a #1 sign of fraud and criminal behavior when you stick somebody who's not incapacitated in a guardianship. Shame on that judge for taking away a man's life.
I felt like this was the second portion of the abuse in my father's situation. First, he was in a situation with a family, and now he was put into the court system to protect him, but that was no protection. Most of the people I meet, their parents have died, horrific deaths through guardianship, and it's chilling at times to realize that it's happening all around us.
In the year 2030, 1 in 5 people will be 65 and older. We're all gonna get old, and we all need protection. With Todd and Marvin, this is an actual success story, but it is a cautionary tale of what can happen to you.
If it wasn't for Todd, I wouldn't be sitting here. Todd saving my life.